Okay, you ready? 3 years ago, KR Sabers, One Replicas, WannaWanga, Slothfurnace, and Jimmy Saber Junk, they all got together and they started working on a Darth Vader lightsaber replica, also known as the MPP, which stands for the Micro Precision Products camera flash thing gun that the original prop came from. This collaboration was an Avengers level event, and I had to get my hands on one. So here it is. This is the MPP Saber Kit, and it's been engineered to be as faithful of a replica as it can, whilst still ready to be installed with all the electronics to be a working lightsaber. So when you buy it, you decide like which version of the prop you'd like, if you want, what kind of chassis you want, and then choose a soundboard, and that will determine what comes in the box, which then you will have to assemble it yourself. I went with the Empire Strikes Back version. In this video, I'm going to go over my experience of assembling the hilt, installing the electronics, and after that, we're going to get real nerdy and look at it in terms of accuracy to the real movie prop. Installing electronics on a lightsaber can be a bit intimidating if you've never done it before. I've done quite a few myself at this point. For my first try, it was a steep learning curve. This is a very niche community and there aren't lots of resources out there. So I ended up spending hours watching Avery Castillo's videos. They're amazing. I spent hours drawing diagrams and trying to make sense of all the components. And also I had to improve my soldering skills because they were like non-existent. For this kit, I was pleasantly surprised to see that they include a guide, like an installation guide, which is all I wanted when I was starting out. So if this will be your first time, your first kit, it's a great place to start. I really wish I had this when I started. Here's some notable things about what comes in a box. So every kit starts with the naked hilt. Some of the parts come pre-assembled for you, like the shroud and the activation box. But you might still want to double check everything, since it took me a whole day to realize that my clamp came assembled upside down. So in this Empire Strikes Back variant, the washer should be on the left side, and it wasn't. No big deal. But just, double check that. Also, if you chose to include electronics, then you'll get a chassis. I went with their EcoCast. It's like a new chassis which has this solid, quite heavy piece of metal, like brass or copper thing, like for the crystal chamber section. It adds a lot of weight to the whole build in a good way, and I think it looks great. I'm happy to see them explore like that area between a cheap 3D printed chassis all the way to like a metal chassis, which is way out of budget for a lot of people, myself included. So great to see them exploring this space. It comes with a 31mm speaker, which is the biggest speaker I've installed it myself. Sounds great and it's really loud. It also comes with two little plastic like Kyber crystal pieces in pixels. For this one though, first time I decided to go with real crystals, which made my life way harder. So I had to use a Dremel, and I had to shave them and break them to make them fit the chamber. And then I glued a pixel to the bottom. So I think it looks really cool, but you definitely don't have to do that. The ones that come in a box, they're fine. Also, keep in mind, all the greeblies for all the different movie variants, they don't come installed, so you're gonna have to install that yourself. Like these wires for the Empire Strikes Back version. I really appreciate that they came already bent the right way and cut the right length, so you really only have to just install it. Maybe glue them if you want. But that was really nice. And of course, the clamp card, the bubble strip, you're gonna have to put that yourself. And then on the grip section, these T-strips, you are gonna need a little guide to install them. From their website, you can download all the files to 3D print them yourselves. That's what I did. But if you don't have a 3D printer, make sure to add that guide when you're buying one, because you're gonna need that if you want to do a good job. Also important to note is, if you're new here, what doesn't come in a box. So you're gonna need to solder. So you need soldering equipment, good soldering iron, you need good wires. It's gonna make your process way easier. Also, a lot of little tools like tiny tweezers, E6000, like those must-haves. I'm gonna link to Avery Castillo's video where he goes over like all the equipment required. That's what got me started. Check that out. Another thing that is not included, and it really might bum you out if you find this out like late in the process, it doesn't come included with a Neopixel blade. So if you actually want to turn it on and light it up, you're gonna need to buy that as well separately. Also, you need a good USB cable, the micro USB cable, because it needs to pass data as well as power. So if you don't have the right one, you might get stuck in the middle of the process, and that's frustrating. So heads up. Okay, then with the guide in hand, this was pretty straightforward. There's no smoke. That's great. The end result looks pretty clean. I love the metal crystal chamber. I love that for a lot of components, I didn't even need to glue them, like the chassis, the way it was designed. It was great for that. The only negatives that I can point out was that first, it was pretty hard to run some of the wires through the chassis. Like, they definitely put up a fight. And because of the way this is designed, you can't see the crystal chamber unless it detached that core. So that's unfortunate, because it's always such a cool flex to like turn on the saber and look at the crystals react and stuff. That's really cool in some installations, but here you can't really do that, which is a shame. But the whole process took me around 4 hours, and after that it was time for some programming. At this point, I know my way around this part, but I wish they included it in the guide, because it can be very intimidating. Maybe I should write one day. I don't know. Yeah, because this part, if you look online, people are like, if you mess this up, the whole thing burns or whatever. And since I was at my desk, I decided to also design a custom stand for it to match my other sabers. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to print one yourself. So I'll make sure to include the variants for all the movies. But yeah, there you go. Okay, and then after all that, it was time for my favorite and the most satisfying part. Put in the blade and turn it on. I decided to keep it simple, and I only loaded up Vader fonts. So I got the styles from FET263, and the sounds I got from Kyberphonic. And yeah, I got the New Hope, you got Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, I got Rogue One, and I got Kenobi. Yes! Of course. Okay, I there's one exception though. I had to load up a Kylo Ren font because it's just so cool. It just sounds incredible. Yes. And it's a Profi, so of course you can always like change the color of the blade. You can play tracks, have the blaster effects and all that. It's just good fun. Okay, that was it for the installation. Now let's get nerdy-er and talk about movie accuracy. As a reminder, I went with the Empire Strikes Back version, but they also offer A New Hope V1, which is the one you can see like in the capture the tentative for scene, and A New Hope V2, which is the one you can see in the Leia's interrogation scene. I don't have any one of those hilts, so I can only speak for the Empire. Short answer, this is a really good replica. Like I wasn't expecting it to be this good. I am not an expert on MPP, but here's some things that I know to look for when trying to assess if it's a good, accurate, replica. So here you go. You ready? Here's some of the things that I know to look for that they got right. You want to see a thicker steel shroud, and it should have like a smooth finish as opposed to the aluminum thinner and like a wrinkly one from A New Hope. So check. It also has this very distinctive spring in the emitter, and you should also see like a rounded bulb holder entry, right? And it's really clever the way they built some of these details into the blade plug. So that's great to see. Also, in the shroud knob, you should see like a diamond-shaped engraving. Check. The D-ring looks to be like the right size. You should find a larger B port, which you do. Of course, the ESB variant has the wires. Like I said, they're all like the right kinks and bends and the right length. That's great. In the clamp, you should find black sidebars, which you do. Some people say the sidebar should be flat. Some say it's rounded. I am not sure which one is the most accurate because I've heard from different, opinions. But I'm not gonna ding them for it. So here you go. You should find a black rubber sleeve under the clamp, which you do. The bubble strip should have an Exactra PCB under it, which it does. I mean, you install it yourself, but it's right there. It's the right length. You should have the cut like right through the bubble, which you do. Of course, there's a missing lever on this one. And you should see the washer on the left side, which you do. The clamp sits lower. Of course, the grip section, like there should be 6 of them. They have the double screws. There you go. And cut straight as opposed to like at an angle from New Hope. And then lastly, on the pommel, a lot of replicas don't get this right, but you should find 3 little lines on that pommel ring. And also the whole cap should be slightly elevated from the main body, which again you do. Really, like apart from the blade retention screw, which is hidden, but it's there. Apart from that, there's nothing that it's obviously inaccurate here. So, and the fact that this is ready for a Neopixel blade and it has electronics inside, it's really darn impressive. Again, I was not expecting it to be this good. Yeah, and you know what? I wasn't even a big MPP fan before getting this hilt, but now I joined the dark side of the Force, and I am a big fan. I just want to say massive thanks to everyone involved in the making of this kit. The community at the RPF forums, and all 6 of you for watching. May the Force be with you, you nerd.